So this is Brad. Brad's going to show us how to do it. Yeah, show. Now the screw pulled that in, and it made that nice and tight as you can squeeze.
House repairs yourself.com.
Do you have a bath fan that sounds like that, or a number of other different sounds that you might hear from a dirty or worn out bath fan? We are going to show you today how to fix that and make your bath fan last a lot longer. Lots of bath fans just pull straight down out of the ceiling. They've got little clips on the side after they pull down that you squeeze and release, and you pull it right out of the housing. Ours doesn't work that way. We've got this little lens, and you might have a lens like that on yours as well. Under the lens, there is a place to take the bath fan totally out of the ceiling. When you remove your bulb, behind the bulb is a little nut that we unscrew. Like I said, this model's this way, others may be different, but after you unscrew that, then the fan housing, or the fan trim, comes out of the housing. Now most of these work this way. The light housing just plugs into the fan base here with just a standard 2-prong plug. The fan motor does the same thing. There's a plug up here for the fan motor. So what you want to do is get these pieces out of the way so that you can get up in there and work on them. Another thing that we're seeing here is that this is just getting quite dusty. After a while, so much dust will accumulate inside these fans that they'll start making noises just for that reason. So take care of that problem. All right, the next step is to get the fan out of there. Now I'm unplugging the 2-prong that plugs into the housing here. And usually, just about all these fans work the same way. If you push them up and pry away from the side of the housing, there's a little prong or area of the fan that clips into a little slot on the housing. So if we push up on it, pry it out of that slot, we can drop it straight down. Okay, we've got the fan motor out of the housing, and you can see here too, quite dusty again. So part of our problem is right there. We're going to get to this in just a minute. But while you're up here, one of the next things you need to do is take a vacuum and just vacuum out the fan housing. Okay, while we're in here too cleaning this up, I want you to reach up in here and find the discharge opening where the air blows out of the fan housing, and there should be a little damper there that closes when the fan is off. Obviously the fan's off now, the fan's out of here now, so that should be closed. If your damper's stuck open, just look up in there and try to figure out what's causing it. If you listen much to our videos, you know we're kind of big on common sense. Just use your common sense here and look around and say, what's keeping that thing open? So make sure that thing is flowing or moving well and closing when it should, so the cold air doesn't dump back into your bathroom when the fan kicks off. All right, another thing too is be aware that there is electricity up in here. If you're just doing what I told you, where you're unplugging these little plugs and taking these housings out of here, we're not really getting into the electricity and the connection, so you're going to be fine. But just remember, there is electricity behind that plug that powers up those devices, the light and the fan. Maybe yours doesn't have a light, but at least has a fan. So just be aware, if you get into this any further, you need to make sure you get your breaker turned off and make sure you have no power to this, because this can be dangerous. Alrighty, next thing we're going to do is we're going to show you how to clean up the fan and oil it. We're going to put it back in and see what it sounds like. Okay, so now we're going to show you how to take care of this problem. You can see here just a lot of dust and dirt. We're going to try to clean that off the best we can, vacuum it. Then we're going to show you how to oil it. One thing to be aware of too is that all this dust on this actual fan cage here will inhibit the flow of air. So if we can actually remove this and clean that thing in a sink, we'd be even better off. This has a little spring that holds this plastic tight on this housing. I'm going to try to pull it off, but if we can't pull it off, we could pry this little spring off and then get it off of there. There we go. Pried it right off of there. You can see there's a little flat spot on this shaft, and there's a flat spot on the hole of this fan, so when we put it back on, we need to make sure those line up. But for right now, I'm going to finish vacuuming this out, and we'll clean that other piece in the sink. Okay, there's a little bit more dust in there, and if you want to be a little more detailed about it, you can certainly get an air compressor and blow that out, or try to get a little brush in there. The majority of the problem, though, is going to be on the actual fan cage or around this bearing here on the shaft. So we've got the important stuff cleaned up, I think. Okay, another thing to be aware of is this project has taken me probably 15-20 minutes, but it may take you longer, and that's okay. Just as long as you're getting this done and get it put back together, if you spend a whole morning on it, you'll get better next time, and that's okay. So right now, we're going to go clean this in the sink, but remember, don't get this part wet. This is an electric motor, and moisture is not helpful for this. But soaking this and brushing it with a brush would be quite helpful. So we're going to go do that next. Okay, we've got it pretty clean. I just kind of soaked it in the water and used my fingers. If you got an old toothbrush or something, you can kind of scrub in there, but in this case, I think it looks pretty good. I think we're pretty well clean. Okay, now we're going to take the fan, put it back together. We're going to oil the motor, and we're going to stick it back up in it, and I'll see what we get. Okay, let's figure out how to oil it. Now I've got an oil can here that has a little spout that you pull out. Those are kind of nice, but you don't have to have that. So just any kind of motor oil or lightweight household oil is fine. Now what I want to do is focus on this area right there. That's kind of a bearing point. This is the motor itself right here. I don't know if you can see that, but inside here is the electromagnet and the armature. That's what turns the motor. If you get a little bit of oil in there, it's not going to hurt anything, but the main point is this bearing here, that's where the squeaking's going on, I believe. So I'm gonna put some oil right around that shaft, and again, you don't need a lot. The more, if you put a lot of oil where it just runs off everywhere, it's just mainly wasted. It's not doing any good. But what I want to do is let it kind of pool around that shaft and let it soak in. Well, you can see already, look at how well it's spinning. As opposed to before, it wasn't spinning real well. So I really think we're gonna be in good shape. When my wife comes in here today and turns that fan on, she's gonna be happy. That thing's been driving her crazy. It's been loud in our house. So this is gonna be good. I'll have to give you an update on what my wife thinks about it. Still got a little squeaking there. I wonder if there's something else. So I'm going to try just putting a dab on the other end of that shaft too. Alright, okay, I like that. Now we're going to take this and align the flat side here with the flat side on the shaft. And we're going to push it down. If you've got a workbench in the basement or something, it's probably a better spot to do this, but we wanted to show you that You don't need any fancy tools, guys, to do this stuff. All right, that's all there is to it. Look at it. It's already performed. Okay, now that we've got everything put back together and cleaned up, we know the damper's working, we are ready to install this. Now, most fans work this way, so I'll give you a little tip. They've got 2 tabs here, 1 tab here. So up inside the housing, there's a slot on this side for the 1 tab, and there's 2 slots on this side for the 2 tabs. So usually you want to put the 2 tabs in the side with the 2 slots, and then slide it up so that, listen for the snap, there it goes. It snapped in on the side with the 1 slot. Okay, your fan may be slightly different, but again, use your common sense. You can figure this out. Don't be stymied by the fact that yours might be different. Okay, now mine has, remember, a light and a fan. We see this is a black plug. I took it, or black cord. I took it out of the black plug, so I'm going to put it back in the black plug. That's hard to say. Black plug 14 times. Try that. All right, so now we're going to just reverse the order of everything that we did. Got this housing here. We've got the light. Goes there. The light has a white plug. We match it up. We take the little nut that holds this all up to the ceiling. And we tighten that. Like that. Kind of make sure it's straight too, so you don't get down, put your ladder away, and then your wife looks at it and says, "That thing's crooked." We'll get it right the first time. Okay, everything's put back together. It's all cleaned up. Let's see what it does. Works like a champ. Okay, there's another tip from houserepairsyourself.com. So whoever you are, go out there and take advantage of some of these tips that we're giving you and take good care of your house. You fix it up, all those who live in your house will have a more enjoyable time, and you guys will love your home. You'll be able to bring your family home and really have some enjoyable times around the table.
Don't forget to push the like button to subscribe to our channel.